All right. I'm gonna go get started with our presentation so we can try and stay on schedule. But then there's going to be the Chapter 54 meeting afterwards. And today we're very fortunate to have the SBE Executive Director, Jim Ragsdale. I could give you his pedigree. I did in the explanation of the presentation that I emailed, but he's going to tell you all about himself. What I can tell you is I get to meet with Jim just about every month. A bunch of the chairs do, including what am I blanking out on here? Chapter 54, Todd. We all do meet up, and he's a heck of a guy. I mean, he's really after our best interest. He's our advocate, and we asked him to join our meeting today because he's always wanted to meet some of the chapter members, just to tell us what he's doing, what his thoughts are, his initiatives. And I look at it as why a reason some SBE members question their membership. Jim's going to tell you why it is a good, worthwhile effort. So, I mean, you already see in the notes that we had under national business, they do a lot, but he's going to tell you a little more. So over to you, Jim. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I had to check and make sure I was not muted. It's really good to see people, and I have gotten to meet with Todd and Mike on my monthly Zoom call with chapter leaders, and that is an open meeting that we have every month, first Monday of the month at 4 p.m. Eastern time, because this was I was really struggling at the beginning. Obviously, we were coming out of the pandemic, and I've only been with SBE 3 years, so just completed my third year, and it was difficult getting to know our members. You know, we're scattered all over the U.S., so I had been trying different ways to try to connect with people. I was doing a lot of face-to-face, showing up at chapter meetings or traveling to events that were going on in the Midwest, because I'm located in Indiana, and it was challenging. So I think after a year or so, I decided or got this idea of maybe I could just host a Zoom meeting every month, invite all the chapter leaders, and whoever joins that's great. I'm a firm believer that we're all a lot smarter than any one of us. And I believe that I need to hear from all of our members all across the US in order to really know what our needs are. And one of the questions I was asked when I interviewed for this position was, the search committee said, how will you know if you're succeeding at your job? And I said, the only way I'll know I'm succeeding is if our members are succeeding. And, you know, you all are the folks on the ground doing the job in all kinds of situations. You know, you're in radio, you're in television, you're in production companies, you're consulting engineers. We got all kinds of activities going on with our members. And my job is to make sure that your career goes where you want it to go, and give you the opportunities that you need in order for you to advance in your career. And, you know, we do, as I've encountered SBE members, I know that our sweet spot is in education and certification. And I think that's what drove the initial desire to have Society of Broadcast Engineers. We needed, you know, as the FCC kind of backed out of some of the roles that they were playing, we needed some way for our members, for broadcast engineers, to show that you had your skills down and you had an expertise in an area that your employer expected you to have an expertise in. So I think as I look at what we're doing, I think we are an extraordinarily member-led organization. That's the thing that I've encountered over and over again, is just how committed you all are to each other and to helping each other develop. You've all got expertise in different areas. And if you catch any of the monthly webinars that are put on by SBE, those are our members sharing their expertise in many different ways to other members. And I think from what I've seen, we do it at the lowest cost that I'm aware of anywhere. And the kind of professional experiences that are being shared are really outstanding. So I just want to offer that encouragement to y'all that you've got a lot of great subject matter experts and you're willing to share information. And we saw it here today with one person asking another for some help. And I've just seen that over and over again. I remember sitting down with a member at the NAB show 2 years ago, and he was just telling me a story about his mentor when he got into broadcast engineering, and how he called the guy, his friend, at 2 a.m. and his station was off the air and he didn't know what to do, and he'd tried this and that and nothing was working. And he called his friend and said, "Do you have any ideas?" And his friend said, "I'll be there in 30 minutes and we'll figure this out." And that is the kind of spirit that I see within SBE. So it's just an amazing organization. We do have a lot of things going on. It feels like we always do, but some of the things that I would like to highlight with you all, because I think they would matter to you. You all remember the FCC self-inspection checklists that are probably 20 years old by FCC. We've been a committee of the SBE has been working on those to update them and repackage them and get them out to our members. We're now calling them the broadcast station self-inspection guidelines. And there are ones for, there's one for radio, or FM radio, one for digital TV, and AM radio. And those are they're almost finalized, and we should have them out here in the first quarter of 2024. So be on the lookout for those. There was a big demand for that from peer organizations that we've had interactions with. Everybody's saying, we need this updated. Can you help? And our committee stepped out and said, we'll work on them. And they've been working on them for really 6 months or so. So those hopefully will be available here in the first quarter of 2024. And those will be available free to all our members. So there's no issue with you having to pay for them. They'll be free to all the members. The other thing that we have going on right now that I think you'll notice is we've started kicking off a real active social media presence. And we're on, obviously we've been on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram for a while. I think we're picking up, I won't go into all of but you should see posts coming from SBE. If you're on any kind of social media, you should start seeing posts coming from SBE just talking about things that are going on right now, like the NAB show, or this is our 60th year. So you'll see a series of posts about celebrating our 60th year and noteworthy things that have happened over those 60 years. Jeff Schick from our New York chapter 15, is helping us with that, and has a lot of experience in getting that information out in a way that'll grab people's attention. One of the things that I could see at the beginning when I started with SBE was that too many people in the industry didn't even know we existed. And that's really unfortunate because of the level of expertise that's a part of SBE and the contributions that have been made by members of SBE over the years. It's really disappointing to see that the number of organizations, the number of broadcasters who either don't know we exist or don't think we're relevant anymore to the industry. And I know that we are, and I've seen it over and over again. And so that social media activity, I think, will help remind people in the industry that SBE is here. Here are the contributions we're making to the industry. And, here are the significant things that have been achieved by the SBE over the years. So hopefully you'll see that. If you don't, let me know, because it really should be popping up on social media. I'm not a huge social media person. I kind of got worn out with it over the last few years and kind of went off off the platforms for a while, but I'm realizing that I need to re-engage with that because I need to make sure people are aware of the activities of SBE. So hopefully you'll see that. The other thing that we've had two things that have happened in the last couple of years that I think are really important. We had two international chapters started in the last 2 years. And the first one was the Eastern European chapter. Hopefully you've seen some mention of that. But if you haven't, I'll give you the short description. In the Republic of Georgia in Eastern Europe, a group of broadcast engineers were looking for resources to train on broadcast engineering, and they did their research and they came up with SBE. They didn't really know much about us, but as they researched and found out what was being offered on SBE's website for membership, they came to us and said, we'd like to become a chapter of SBE. And they're headquartered in Tbilisi, Republic of Georgia. But they're at recruiting members from Georgia, Moldova, Azerbaijan, Armenia, and they want to start recruiting members from farther north in Europe. And you can get a geography lesson if you start looking on the map and start looking at where Georgia is located and what's nearby. But they're very interested in letting broadcast engineers in Eastern Europe know about the resources that SBE has to offer. So we had that chapter start 2 years ago. They applied for a chapter status. We approved that in 2022, and they got active. And then last year, you may know, if you're not near a chapter in the SBE, you get assigned to what we called Chapter 0. It just meant we didn't have a chapter near you. And so we had a lot of Chapter 0 members, about 180, I think, altogether. And so our president at the time, Andrea Cummins, said, Jim, look at who our Chapter 0 members are and see if there's a way, see if they have an interest in starting their own chapter somewhere. We have virtual meeting capability. Maybe somebody would like to start a chapter somewhere and do virtual meetings on a regular basis, like you all are doing now. So the largest group of those Chapter 0 members were folks from Canada. So we sent an email out to all of our Canadian members and said, if you're interested in starting a virtual chapter in Canada, huge country, 5 time zones, I think, are included in Canada. We want you to know that you can do that. You can start a chapter and you could do it virtually. And so just let us know if you're interested in that. Had a really positive response from that email to Canadian members. And so they decided to hold a Zoom meeting. They elected officers and set up a meeting schedule and completed an application for chapter membership. So we got that application right before our fall national meeting in Columbus, Ohio, and the board acted on that application and approved it. So we have a chapter going in Canada. In fact, they met yesterday. I attended the meeting because they're meeting virtually. I attended, and when I get the chance, when I have the opportunity in my schedule, I like to join chapters and give them a different perspective if they want. Otherwise, I'm just a quiet mouse in the corner that's going to listen and see how things are going. So, that's a significant thing. On that international side, we haven't been real active in the IBC, International Broadcasters Conference in Amsterdam for a number of years. I think maybe we've sent one person in 10 years. And it's not been a real focus of ours because it is European for the most part. But our chapter in Eastern Europe said, hey, we would like to hold a press event at IBC in 2024 and invite all of our Eastern European broadcast engineers who are present for that to come together and learn about SBE and invite them to join. So that's going to happen this year. I think IBC is in August, if I remember correctly. And so there's probably going to be a press event at IBC, not in the conference, but adjacent to the conference at a local restaurant, and they'll invite everybody they know to come and hear about SBE and see the resources that SBE has to offer and ask them if they want to join. So that's kind of exciting. It's we get members applying for membership from outside of the US on a fairly regular basis. We have them from Asia and Africa and South America, but there's not a lot of them. Canada was a big group of outside the US borders members, and so I think it's a good thing if we have the resources that they need and they want to become a part of SBE. I think that's a good thing, and I'd love to hear your perspective on that if you have an opinion on that. We last month, or actually a couple of months ago, we were contacted by broadcast engineers in Australia who are interested in how we go about certifying broadcast engineers. They are working on a program of certification in Australia, and they know that we've been doing this for a number of years, and so they're talking to us about how we do it. And Ted Hand, our president, told them, he said, I would love to see you all join SBE if we, if you're interested. So that may be developing here over the next few months. I'll shut up in a second, but I wanted to make sure I'll shut up and let you ask me questions, because I'm hogging the time here. I really believe that local chapters are the strength of SBE, and you all have expertise. When people ask me what I do, I say I work with a bunch of smart people from all across the US who people don't realize the work that broadcasting engineers are doing. Many times they have no clue what is being accomplished. Even things like emergency alerting, they just don't pay attention to it, and they don't realize the work that broadcast engineers do to make those things happen. So I think there's just a real opportunity to inform the public about what I call the first responders. You all are first responders. You're there in emergencies. You make things happen. You inform people who need to know where to get emergency supplies, or what weather is coming their way, how to stay warm and dry in the midst of an emergency. There's just a lot of things that are being accomplished by broadcast engineers that the general public doesn't know. And I think we gotta do a better job of informing them of all of that. And so with this monthly chapter leaders Zoom that we have, I hope that what we're doing is helping strengthen local chapters. And chapter 54 and 60, I know you guys, I think last year you hosted or worked on this engineering workshop with the VAB last year, and I heard really good things from VAB about that contribution that you all made to their meeting. So I know broadcasting associations appreciate what you do. They may not know how to show it, and I keep telling them, how I think they can be showing broadcast engineers the love. But I think they respect what you do, and we want to continue to work with partners like that to let the public know about broadcasting, and to attract young people to join the industry and to learn the industry. So with that, I'll shut up and let you ask any questions if you have any.
Go ahead, Dave Morgan. I know you've got a question.
Where did that come from?
I just know you have a question. You always have good thoughts about things that we can be doing within the SBE. I mean, Dave, by the way, Jim,
Oh,
is an
God.
integral part. He's part of the planning committee. We're trying to have this academy, engineering academy, like they do in Alabama. So I
Oh,
figured
that's
you might
great.
have a contribution.
Well, thank you for kind words, Mike. I was just so paying attention to the presentation. I hadn't thought of anything yet, but give me a couple minutes. So,
Well, I will.
And Keith here, and Keith and Todd are in on this
Yep.
this effort too, by the way.
I will add that what Jim said is having an impact. The use of social media, and this is where when we meet each month, I know what we're going to talk about, and it's a slow roll, if you ask me, because we're brainstorming. There are anywhere from as low as maybe 15 chapter chairs. It revolves around people's time availability up to, I think, upwards of 25 chairs. So everyone has different perspectives and ideas, and sometimes we discuss similar concepts month after month, but guess what? We're making some progress. New York brought up some great ideas, and he's very inspirational about what he's doing for his chapter. And he hollered out, hey, so who has a presence with their SBE chapter on social media? Or, do you have videos? I think he had asked, and, put my hand up, and he's like, okay, chapter 60. And I'm like, well, shoot, now I've really got to clean things up. And Elliot and I got to work that much closer to, and that was inspiration. And it's going to be good for, everyone, because we do get some really decent presentations that should be shared with everyone. So it's making a difference.
Yeah, and I know chapters do struggle with finding programming for their monthly meeting. And so if you can share resources, I love like this meeting, with chapter 54 and chapter 60, inspires me, because I know that you all are working together, you're collaborating, and you're making successful activities happen. And I think we're seeing that around the US. Chapters are able to do that. And presenters are much more willing to present if they know they can get a good group in the room. And so if they can present virtually and get 20 or 30 people together, they're much more likely to be interested in presenting than if they're talking to 5. So it's great.
Any questions? Anything, everything?
Hey, Jim, I saw the thing about the Diamond Project, the 60,
Yes.
and that's about certification, right?
Yes. Yeah. The Diamond Project, that, the Ralph Hogan, the cert chair, and Megan Clapp, our certification director, came up with that idea. I think we had done that maybe 10 years ago, if I recall correctly. And it was, really in commemoration of our 60th year. We wanted to offer an opportunity for people who had let their certification lapse to get back into good grace with certification. So there's a link to that on the website. And in fact, if you go to the SBE.org website and click on certification, the first button on that page, upper left corner, will be for the Diamond Project. And so if any of you were certified in the past and through whatever reason you let your certification lapse, go check that out. It's a good way to get recertified. We've already, word's getting out, and we've already had a few people take advantage of that, and it's only been up, I think, less than a week. So I hope that that a lot of people do take advantage of that. Thank you, Todd.
Are you going to continue that for some time, or is that going to?
I think it's going to run through the whole year, 2024. So yeah, I think, yeah, it's good for all levels of certification. And I don't know if you have people who are specifically responsible in your chapter for certification, you might want to check that out and learn about that. But yeah, that would be great.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And we know, from our surveys that we do every year, we know that in general, folks who are certified do in general earn more than those who aren't certified. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a bump in pay just because you got certified, but I think in general, employers do look favorably on those certifications, and usually over time will reward those who are certified.
By the way, Jim, we had a discussion in our meeting this week, the chairs meeting, that it was something I was not aware of that like Dave Morgan may find of interest, but I'll counter it with a Joe Davis comment. We discussed the fact that you can achieve your CBT broadcast technician certification just by having your extra class amateur radio license, that
Right.
it is a reciprocal agreement. And
Mhm.
so Joe Davis, for chapter 54, also a friend of mine, I was discussing this with him, and he's like, well, yeah, you can do that, but come on, you've got 20 plus years experience. You just need to get right up there. And he's right. But even if just to inspire someone with which I don't think that's well known, because I had learned about it for the first time. It is somewhat documented, I think we discussed.
Yeah.
But that is a great door opener for a lot of ham radio operators who are also technicians or even IT professionals in our industry.
Yeah, as a follow-up to that, Mike, I talked to Megan Clapp in the office. It was actually on Tuesday, and said, Megan, I think we have a lot of questions about certification, even among our chapter leaders. I think it would be great to do an update for people. And she said she could do that. And so she'll probably be joining our February chapter leaders meeting, just to say, if anybody has any questions at all about certification, I'm here to answer. So I sent out, because it was after that meeting, I had at least one email from somebody who had a misimpression of how to get certified. And so they emailed me, and I pulled some information off of our website and sent it back to them. So that, it was just a cheat sheet, basically a one-pager that talked about the different certifications and how you qualify for those. And so I do think there's a lot of opportunity. It's not something we look at every day, and so people get hazy on what the requirements are for different certifications, and even which ones would be most beneficial to them if they're looking to pursue increasing certification.
All right. Any other questions for Jim?
Well, Mike, I finally thought of one. Well, when you mentioning the CBT certification, that reminded me of the TPT program. Maybe tell us a little bit about that, and who you think might be good candidates. If we're looking at somebody, say if a station is looking at investing in an employee to further their career, and not just for them but for the station. What might be good things to look for in somebody who might be a candidate for that?
Yeah, the TPT program is short for Technical Professional Training Program, and we started that actually right before I joined SBE. That program kicked off, and basically I think our Education and Certification Committee chairs came together and said, I think we offer something that would be really beneficial to the newly to somebody who's new to the profession, and let's try packaging this together and making it available to people so that they can maybe accelerate their development in the career. And so the TPT program, first of all, includes the resources to prepare for the CBT, Certified Broadcast Technician training, or maybe it's technologist, I forget. Anyway, CBT, It includes the SBE Broadcast Engineering Handbook, which is a big, thick reference book, a book that you could use for the next 15 years probably. But you can put it on your shelf and it gives you a place to go if you have questions about stuff. It includes the mentoring program, which is always a part of membership with SBE. So if you're a member of SBE, you are eligible to be a part of the mentoring program. And the mentoring program has both less experienced engineers and more experienced broadcast engineers. And people sign up to be mentors, and then they have a mentee assigned to them. And we try to group them either regionally or by station or by city or something that makes sense for them. But we want new broadcast engineers to have a resource, to have a person that they can reach out to when they've got a question, or if they just need some coaching about how to go about advancing in their career, or maybe they have a challenging situation and they're not sure how to respond to it. They're being asked to do things, or they have a facility that has specific needs and they're not sure how to respond to that. This mentor can be that person that they can call up and get some advice from. Also, we now have subject matter expert mentees or mentors. So we have people who have a specific expertise who are willing to serve on an individual basis on a specific need. So you can have a mentor who is assigned to you if you're new to the profession. And then if you ask them a question about something and they don't know the answer, they can look up and see who that subject matter expert is in that area and reach out to them and connect you so that they can help answer that question for you. So the mentor program is always a part of being an SBE member. You're always eligible for that. The TPT program also includes the Member Plus level membership, which is the higher level membership that gives you access to all the learning resources. So you have 24/7, 365 access to all the recorded webinars that SBE has on their website. You can register for any of them at no extra charge and watch those. So that's a part of that program. That's the only thing that really has a time limit on it. It's a 1-year membership in the SBE at the Member Plus level, and then the mentor program. If you're not a member, you of course you don't have access to those resources on an unlimited basis. You can do a pay-as-you-go thing and watch, I think they're $62 a piece. So if you watch a couple of them, they cover the cost of you upgrading a traditional membership up to that Member Plus. So if you watched a couple a year, that would offset the cost of upgrading to that level. Trying to think if I've left anything out. I feel like those are the big things that are part of TPT. It's been an attractive program, and in some states, some state SB broadcast associations are offering scholarships for TPT program. Missouri is one that is offering scholarships, and they'll reimburse people. And then there's some other states. Pennsylvania, I think, offers a reimbursement. So if you apply for the TPT program and are accepted into it, they will reimburse the cost of that TPT program. So if you're interested in the TPT, check with your state broadcast association. A lot of them do reimburse the cost, or your employer may reimburse the cost of the program. It's been very positive. I think we have 60 mentees, if I remember correctly, around 60 mentees and around 50 mentors. David, are you involved in the program?
Yes, I'm in the mentorship program. Actually, right after our online meeting here today, I'll have a mentoring meeting with my mentee.
Good.
So, yeah, and we'll be talking about something he sent me an email question about last week, and so we'll be shooting that back and forth with a weird situation he's trying to wrap his head around. So so that's, I think, a perfect example of how it works. So it's been a good program, I think. It can be challenging at times because, you know, for whatever reason, but and everybody's busy, and people have things going on, but yeah, it's been rewarding for the on the mentoring side, and hopefully it's been on the mentee side as well.
Good, good. Mike, how are we doing on time? Have I run over already?
I'd say if there's another question, go ahead and ask, but otherwise we should wrap it up. So if the folks from Richmond want to take off, they can, and then we can you can be around for the 54 meeting as well, which that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. Anyone is welcome to stay for the Hampton Roads Chapter 54 meeting, but if you need to take off, feel free to do so. There will be a new twist to the 54 meeting. We'll talk about something, so you're welcome to stick around. But thank you very much, Jim. Really appreciate the presentation.
Yeah, sorry, I rambled a bit. I do get a little fired up when I'm talking about the subject, so thank you.
This was great. Thank you.
Good.
That's expected, actually.
Good, good.
Yeah.